What you're about to witness isn't the elegant, controlled version of tennis that millions admire. It's the other side, the raw, emotional, unpredictable side, where even the greatest players in the world lose control, not just of the match, but of themselves. Because tennis isn't just a sport of skill, it's a psychological battlefield. There's no teammates to hide behind, no timeouts to reset your mind. Just you, your opponent, and the pressure building with every single point. And sometimes, that pressure explodes. It starts subtly, the clenched jaw, the frustrated glance, the muttered words under the breath. But then, something snaps, a missed shot, a bad call, a moment that shouldn't matter but does, and suddenly, the calm disappears. Take John McEnroe, for example, a legend not just for his brilliance, but for his fiery temper. His outbursts weren't just moments, they became part of tennis history. The phrase "you cannot be serious" wasn't just a complaint, it was a symbol of how even the best can unravel under pressure. McEnroe didn't just argue with umpires, he battled them, turning matches into psychological wars that sometimes overshadowed the tennis itself. But here's the twist, his anger didn't always destroy him. Sometimes it fueled him. It made him more dangerous, more unpredictable. And that's what makes these moments so fascinating. Because losing control doesn't always mean losing the match. Fast forward to the modern era, and the chaos hasn't disappeared, it's evolved. Enter Nick Kyrgios, one of the most controversial figures in tennis history. Kyrgios doesn't just play matches, he creates spectacles. From smashing rackets to arguing with fans. From tanking points to delivering jaw-dropping winners seconds later, he exists on the edge of control at all times. One moment he's laughing, the next he's furious. And that unpredictability keeps millions watching. Because with Kyrgios, you're not just watching tennis, you're watching a story unfold in real time. A story where anything can happen. But not all breakdowns are loud. Some are silent, and far more powerful. Consider Naomi Osaka, whose struggles revealed a completely different side of losing control, not through anger, but through overwhelming pressure. In a world where athletes are expected to perform flawlessly, Osaka showed what happens when the mental weight becomes too heavy. Her decision to step away from press conferences during French Open shocked the world, sparking conversations far beyond tennis. It wasn't about racket smashing or shouting, it was about the invisible battle happening inside. And in many ways, it was just as intense. Then there are moments when frustration turns physical, when the racket becomes the target. You've seen it before. A missed forehand, and suddenly the racket is gone, smashed into the court, pieces scattering as the crowd gasps. Even the calmest players aren't immune. Novak Djokovic, known for his incredible composure, has had moments where the pressure boiled over. One swing too many. 1 point too frustrating, and control slips away. It's a reminder that no matter how mentally strong you are, you're still human, and sometimes losing control leads to consequences far bigger than a fine or a warning. One of the most shocking moments in tennis history came when Djokovic accidentally hit a line judge with a ball during the US Open. It wasn't intentional, but it didn't matter. In that instant, frustration turned into disaster. He was disqualified. Just like that. His entire tournament ended not because of his opponent, but because of a moment of lost control. And that's the danger in tennis. The margins are so thin that one emotional reaction can change everything. But if you think these moments only happen to a few players, think again. Even icons like Serena Williams have faced moments where emotions took over. Her clash with an umpire during the 2018 US Open final wasn't just a disagreement. It became one of the most talked about controversies in sports. What started as a code violation escalated into a full-blown confrontation with the entire stadium watching. It wasn't just about tennis anymore, it was about respect, fairness, and emotion. And whether people agreed or disagreed, one thing was clear. The pressure had reached its breaking point. Then there's Merit Safin, a player almost as famous for destroying rackets as he was for winning matches. Safin once admitted that breaking rackets helped him release tension. And if that's true, he must have been under a lot of tension, because his matches often featured multiple shattered rackets. each one a symbol of the intense emotional roller coaster he was riding. But again, here's the paradox: despite the chaos, he still became a Grand Slam champion. Which raises the question, is losing control always a weakness? Or can it sometimes be part of what makes a champion? And that's what makes tennis so unique. In sports like football or basketball, emotions are shared across a team. But in tennis, it's all internal. Every mistake feels personal. Every point lost is your responsibility. There's nowhere to hide. And over time, that pressure builds, point by point, game by game, until something gives. Sometimes it's anger. Sometimes it's frustration. Sometimes it's silence. But it always reveals something deeper about the player. Because in those moments of lost control, you see the real person behind the athlete. The fear, the doubt, the intensity, the humanity. And yet, fans love it. Not because they want to see players struggle, but because it makes the sport real. It reminds us that even the greatest athletes aren't machines. They feel everything we feel, just at a much higher intensity, on a much bigger stage, with millions watching their every move. So the next time you see a racket smash, an argument, or a moment of pure frustration, don't just see it as a loss of control. See it as part of the story. Because in tennis, the battle isn't just against the opponent on the other side of the net, it's against yourself. And sometimes, that's the hardest opponent of all. Because the truth is, in tennis, you don't just win or lose matches, you fight to control your mind. And when that control slips, even for a second, the entire world can change.